fun.
All right, everybody, welcome back to our Friday reflections. We're going to look at the results from our experiment and put some things in our notebooks this week. Savannah, I wanted to ask, did you get a chance to do the experiment at all?
Can't hear her.
No.
No? She was just taking her time. Okay, that's okay. And then Viviana, you haven't seen the video, so you didn't get to do it. But you know where to find all the experiment information, right? On the Bitmoji class?
Yep.
So if you do want to do it, you can. Okay, so
You should, because it's very informative.
Yes, you should. I'm gonna change my well, maybe we should look at the experiment first. Well, I can show you guys what it looks like. So I'll show you guys what the experiment looks like first. I'm wearing my Bob Ross shirt, Scott. So this is what my celery ended up looking like. So this has been since Wednesday. You can, if you look closely, you can see that
Wow.
there's a lot of, here, let me do it like the makeup people on YouTube, how they do it. It's the blue palette.
You can see the leaves
have turned blue. So we had a hypothetical garden, right? We said we were gonna garden, and we used pesticides, and this is what happened. So we have blue all the way to the very top. And if you look at the celery, like halfway through, there's like some blue.
Hey, Ms. Ramos.
Yeah.
One thing that Ms. Funk did was cut the top off just like an inch down.
Okay, like right here?
A knife, yeah. If you have a knife and you cut right there, you'll be able to see it really, really well.
Okay, hold on. Give me a sec.
I thought that was a really good idea because everybody has been looking from the bottom.
Yeah.
And they showed theirs, she had cut like an inch down from the top, and it was really interesting because you could see the color. You could see the individual tubes.
Okay. The xylem.
The xylem, yeah.
So this is a really sharp knife. Oh, you can see. Let me see. So this is part of what I just cut off. Hold on. Can't really.
It's just blurry.
And it's blurry as my gets. You can kind of see right there a little bit.
A little bit, yeah.
Tiny bit. Let me see if you can see here. You can kind of see the blue in the.
Yeah, you can.
Yeah.
That is so cool.
So we have little patches of blue kind of all around. And then you can see where the cover.
And the uptake in the xylem, yeah.
Yeah, so you guys can see that. So if you wanted, we could cut it in half and just look at all the different parts, but definitely my leaves are very, 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 very blue. So you could use this and try this with plants outside, different plants, flowers. You can go crazy with this. Okay, so let me show you the notebook, and then we'll get to the observations and experiment part. So I'm gonna try not to make you guys busy. Let me turn my video so I can see what I'm showing you. Okay. So on Monday we talked about uptake. Ms. Scott had a great video about explaining what uptake is, and as you saw with the this is the very top of the celery, and this is the part that we cut off. So this is the top. So it reached the very, very top, right? And this is the part that I cut. So the uptake. So the xylem, these little, I guess, tubes, right, are what suck up the nutrients and water from the ground. So we're talking about pollution this week. This is the week 2 experiment. We talked about the xylem and the phloem. So plants uptake water and nutrients through roots. And we had, this is probably the third time you've seen this image. Miss Scott had in the video, the first video for the first week, the roots, the root hair, and we kind of zoomed, this is a zoom in on the root hair, and the root hair is what, you know, sucks up and uptakes the water and the nutrients. Savannah, do you remember anything about any other information that we went over from the from Wednesday? Does any of this, or what did you think was the most interesting part of this, if you think anything was interesting of here?
That the blue got into the
One more time? Nice and loud.
that the blue got into the celery.
Do you know how it got into the celery?
No.
No? Do you remember? Oh, I lost my piece of celery. Where'd it go? Oh, right here. So these, do you see these like little circles? These little, there's like 1, 2, 3, these little blue, here, I don't know if you can see them. These little blue dots, Savannah?
Yeah.
So those are called the xylem, okay? And the xylem, if the celery had roots, they would have gone first through the root hair and up the root and then into those little tubes called the xylem. So that's what sucks up the water. That's the uptake. Okay?
Okay.
Can you say that word, xylem?
Xylem.
Nice. Viviana, xylem?
Xylem.
Xylem. So the xylem sucks up. I don't know, I have to use like my hands. It like, can even make that noise. Okay? Then we have, so xylem moves water from roots to the leaves. So we definitely saw that, right? With the cauliflower. You could try it with cauliflower, with the celery, right? Do you guys want to make that noise with me? It's kind of fun. Xylem. When you're learning new vocabulary words, sometimes if you add little hand gestures or like I don't know, I used to, when I was memorizing vocab in school, I would make up like little songs or little rhymes to remind me. So Savannah, Viviana, you guys look like you guys can do this. Let's do it together. Ready? Xylem. Ready? 1, 2, 3. Xylem. Say xylem.
Oh, xylem.
Okay. All right. And then we have the phloem. So these images help me understand it because the xylem sucks up the water and it, you know, it goes up. The phloem, it's kind of like it flows. It does this like circular motion. It circulates the glucose, which is sugar. Plants have sugar and amino acids to the rest of the plant. So they just kind of flow. Okay. So the xylem sucks up the water and the phloem just kind of, you know, flows. All right. So hopefully you'll remember xylem and phloem. All right. Then the second day we did aquifer. So I have the vocab down here and then an image here. So when you guys, hopefully you'll look back at this video and you'll add to your notebook, right? So aquifer, Ms. Scott had a great video on Tuesday about what an aquifer is. So it's a geological formation containing groundwater. It's also known as groundwater. So she mentioned that under the Central Valley, we have a natural aquifer under us that has water. I didn't talk about this on Wednesday, but just a kind of an interesting thing to know. Ms. Scott mentioned recharging an aquifer is when water flows into an aquifer through rainfall or snow melt. So it adds new water.
Miss,
Yeah.
my interruption.
Yeah, go
When
ahead.
I wrote it, I said also known as groundwater. What I should have written was also known as water table.
Water table. We could add that right here. So it's a water table.
Usually when they're talking about the water table, they're referring to the depth, how deep the aquifer is.
Okay, cool. So now you guys know under the Central Valley, we have that. And so she had this really cool image just kind of to explain what the aquifer is. So we have like the top where we hang out, we live, you know, on top, on the ground. And then under we have the soil and we have the roots. And of course, if we look deep into the roots, we would find the root hairs and that, you know, uptake the nutrients. And then under this, under the soil, the sand, dirt, silt, and gravel, we have bigger gravel and we have rocks. Bigger gravel and rocks that filter the water. So this blue here is water that has already like sunk in. And when she, like Ms. Scott said, the water table refers to the depth. So there could be something that's way deeper than this, and this one's not too deep. We just wanted to show you kind of what it looks like. And we talked about on Wednesday, and we talked about, when she talked about on Tuesday, how this water here in this aquifer can be contaminated with pesticides and herbicides that we use on our plants. So it can go all the way down and it travels through, and then we contaminate this water. So that happens, okay? Viviana, could you tell me something you didn't know before that now you know? You can cheat and look, or it's not cheating if you're looking because you're learning, so that's okay. Viviana? Viviana. Is she frozen?
I don't think so. Viviana, are you there?
Oh, there she is. Could you
Okay.
tell me one thing that you didn't know before that now you know? New piece of information?
I don't know.
Did you know about the water table?
Actually, never knew about that.
No. So that's something you didn't know. Is there something that you already knew?
I don't know.
You don't know? Okay, that's okay. Savannah? Anything that you didn't know? Any new piece of information that you now know? Or just something you thought was interesting?
I don't know.
You don't know. Okay, well, I'll have to come back to this again. Now, we did our experiment. And with our experiment, these were the materials we needed. So Viviana, you can watch this, you can watch our Wednesday video and we talk about the materials more, but it's pretty simple. A cup with water, piece of celery, carrot, you could do a paper tube, but it's kind of a little bit more interesting to do it with actual plants, water, food coloring. And so I just drew the image of our celery stick. You can
I'm
take
not doing it with
pictures.
cut flowers.
You're doing it with cut flowers?
Yeah, because it's really pretty. It makes like if you have like a white carnation and you have like red or whatever, you can make red come into the carnation. It's really pretty.
Ooh, you can mix the colors. You guys can do that as well. And then this is a picture, actually off the internet, but it kind of shows, right, these little holes. These are the xylem. This is where the water was sucked up. So here's my actual, not cauliflower, I keep saying cauliflower, my actual celery stick. You could see them right here. These are the same little holes, right? And they got sucked up and to the top. So you guys can, I printed this. You guys can just write it out in your notebook. You don't have to type it and print it. And then I kept I added to our hypothesis that we came up with on Wednesday. And then I added my observations. And this table, of course, you can just do it with pencil or marker. You don't have to have it printed, but this is just how I did mine. So we put, I think the water with our blue pesticides will travel up the celery stalk, proving how pesticides travel up into the plants. Had to add that. I think it will take, I said 4 hours to travel to the top. And I know that we had one person that said 2 hours, and then someone said a whole day. I went ahead and I said 4 hours to see what would happen. And so I observed every first 1, 3, 6, 9 hours, and then so every 3 hours. And then the next morning, which ended up being 18 hours because I checked it at 9 a.m. So I'll let you guys look at my observations for a second. Maybe take a few, maybe choose one time and read the observation.
There with color coloring at the bottom.
And then I'm going to ask for you guys to share.
So it actually did take about at least like a 12 hours, huh?
Yes. Well, yeah, about at 9 hours, there was some blue coloring on leaves, but not all the leaves, just some. Savannah, could you tell me which time you're looking at and what the observations were?
Nine hours.
9 hours, okay. So at 10:30, that's 10:30 p.m. So we started actually at 2:30. That's when we put it. And then at 3:30 is when I checked. So 9 hours later. So what were my observations there?
Some blue coloring was
Keep going.
on waves,
Yes.
not
Do you remember? Oh, go ahead, Savannah.
some blue coloring on
That's an L. Sorry, my writing's kind of messy, huh?
leaves and not all leaves.
Okay. Do you remember what your hypothesis was? Was yours the 4 hours, the 2 hours, or the next day? Do you remember?
2 hours.
2 hours, okay. So at 2 hours would have been about somewhere here. So at 3 hours, it says, looks similar to earlier with more coloring at bottom and around xylem. So was your hypothesis correct? If we had the blue leaves, the blue coloring at the top of the leaves here, after 9 hours, did it happen at 2 hours then?
No.
No, it didn't. That's okay. My hypothesis, was my hypothesis correct? I said it was gonna happen after 4 hours.
Oh,
Nope, it wasn't, and that's okay. That is perfectly okay. Viviana, did you have, which time did you focus on and what observation could you read the time and observation that you focused on?
Wait, can I rejoin real quick? Because my screen's kind of frozen on.
yeah, absolutely, not a
Yeah.
problem.
I'm gonna rejoin real quick.
Okay. I can come back. So Savannah, we were both wrong. Our hypothesis was incorrect, but that's okay. That's what science is all about. And we see what we learned. So on the next page, was my hypothesis correct? And I put, my hypothesis was not correct. It took more than 4 hours for the dye to reach the top of the leaves on the celery stalk. Instead, it took at least 9 hours. So what did I learn? So in this section of your notebook, you would put in things that you learned, maybe something you would do different, maybe something else that you might want to try. So you could write that down here, okay? And then, so this was our experiment. That was the experiment part. I have one more paper to show you guys, but any thoughts? This can be anybody, Savannah, Miss Scott, Miss Shori. Any thoughts on our experiment?
I
Any other
expected,
ideas?
I had expected the actual celery to take up more blue. I thought the celery stalk itself was going to be more blue.
More blue, yeah. And
I'm curious, did you put it in the refrigerator or did you leave it on the counter?
I left it out on the counter.
I wonder if that would have made it any kind of a difference.
So maybe I could write that down.
Miss Funk said it would slow it down.
I wonder.
That's what I would guess.
Yeah. Leaving in.
But then again, you know, I would also consider the fact that the refrigerator often dehydrate stuff, so maybe the salt celery would pull it
Mm.
up more.
Yeah. Did you use food coloring or did you use Kool-Aid?
Nope, it was food coloring.
Okay.
So that could be something maybe.
Yeah, Kool-Aid too. And then with sugar or without sugar, I wonder if that would make a difference.
Yeah.
Use Kool-Aid next time. Any ideas, Savannah?
No.
Sugar.
Uh-uh.
No. Okay. So you could put different things that you want to do differently next time, or anything that you learned. The last part of the notebook that I just wanted to show you guys. Hi, Viviana. You're back. Do you want to share really quick your time and observation that you focused on, or any thoughts on this? Or just your thoughts on the experiment?
It was a nice experiment.
It was nice. Okay. We were just talking about how, the hypothesis was wrong, which is perfectly okay. That's how we learn things. And we're talking about different ways that we can change the experiment. So Ms. Joy mentioned leaving the celery stalk next time in the refrigerator, or using Kool-Aid next time, because I used food coloring. Something with sugar or no sugar, will that make a difference? How can we change, or what's something you would do different, Viviana? Like if you were to do this today, do you have all of these things? Would you have to substitute the celery with something else? What would you do? There's no wrong answer.
I'd probably substitute the dye with another type of
Okay.
liquid that has color in it.
What kind of liquid do you think? So substitute liquid? Can you think of any liquid
Not
that you could
really.
use? No? I mean, that's a good idea. You could even, if you had, you could do 5 or 10 different liquids. You could do, we could do Kool-Aid, sugar, no sugar. You could do a different color dye. You could use, I know Kira said paint.
Or Miss Marshall last week when she was doing her water pollution, she used poppies to color her water.
Poppies? Poppy seeds?
I'm not sure if they were poppy seeds or just poppies.
Oh, you mean poppies the flower?
I think so. So maybe different kinds of flower might color, different kind of flowers might color your water, like petals.
Oh, she used color.
Interesting.
Oh,
Fruit.
okay.
If you put fruit in there.
Oh, okay. So
What would be interesting is
the
to find out if
fruit
you put it like in
dye.
fruit juice or something, if you could taste it.
Ooh, fruit dye, fruit juice, a color from petals. There's so many things that you could do. You could go crazy, and you can you can make a different hypothesis for different things. How long do you think it take to go to the very top? But the end of our experiment, though, the purpose of doing it was because this week was focusing on pollution uptake. So just remembering that our plants, whatever is in the soil, and whatever, if they're pulling up water from the aquifer and this water is contaminated, it goes into our plants. It goes into what we eat, right? So we said in our, on Wednesday, we did a hypothetical garden, right? We talked about, Savannah was there. We talked about if we all had a garden on this call, what would we put on our garden? And if we use pesticides, and we use, the blue was supposed to represent pesticides in our garden, when our vegetables and flowers uptake the water, those pesticides are going to be present. And we might not be able to see them like we can see the food coloring, but they will be there because we know that the xylem will uptake whatever is in the soil. So we were talking about how that is how our food can be polluted. So then on Thursday, we had a really cool video that Ms. Scott posted And I didn't write all the different ways to organically garden, but here are a few. The video is pretty cool. The man on there is like a really sweet guy. Is he from Australia, Miss Scott?
Yeah, the video was in Australia.
Yeah, he's just like a cute little man.
I know.
It just makes me like, oh, I want a garden. So if you guys should watch the video. But here are 5 different ways that you can organically garden. So he talks about planting in season. So sometimes, I mean, you could plant a garden, I guess, whenever you want, but that doesn't mean that things are gonna some plants are gonna be as strong as they would be if they're planted in the right season. So he talked about, you know, knowing your garden and planting the certain vegetables in the right season. Harvesting early. So he talked about how insects really like, and I'm sure birds like, ripe food. They like ripe food, right, Miss Scott?
Yeah.
I
Yes.
always think ripe means the opposite of what it really means. It just, the word doesn't make sense to me. And so harvesting early. So he talked about there's countries like in Southeast Asia, people eat the food green, a little bit more green. You have green bananas, so they can beat the pests and the birds to the food. Keeping poultry, I love this. So keeping little ducks and chickens, I mean, not letting them roam the garden all the time because the chickens can destroy your garden, but they can help turn the soil and just pick off little tiny insects and bugs. And so I think that's really cool.
They
and
love
then,
the worms. So if you have like tomato worms or something, they love those things.
They love the little worms.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have a very small garden. I have 2 tomato plants, 2 zucchini plants, and 1 watermelon. But I can't keep any chickens or ducks. I have cats around here, but that's a cool thing. Organic sprays. So he really tried to stay away from any kind of spray, but he shows on the video how to make a spray that you can spray on your plants that will not be harmful to the plants and will stop. Like he made this one solution where it would stop the ants from going up like a tree, because the ants and mites, is it mites, Miss Scott? I forgot.
Yes.
The ants and mites work together. So different insects work together. And then he talked about biobugs. So basically bugs that you can buy that can help, that will help your garden. So like ladybugs, he talked about miniature wasps and predatory mites that help protect the bugs. He did 10 different tips. I only wrote down 5, and off the top of my head, I remember one other thing he said was he said a lot of farmers plant like one type of crop and that's it, and that's not good, that they should plant a variety together, small amounts of different kinds. So diversity in people isn't the only way that diversity is good, but also diversity in the way you plant. So having different plants together, that way it helps offset any termite or any bugs that might want to hurt your plants. This wasn't on the video, but I've been reading and I heard that your pee is really good for your garden. So I know I haven't tried it myself, but I've been reading some books, and that's what I heard. I only read it in this one book, so I'm not going to say it is for sure. I'll have to do some more research, and next week I will confirm that piece of advice. Viviana's like, what kind of call is this? Okay, so that's the notebook for this week. Do you guys want to see any page one more time at all, or are you guys okay? You're okay, Viviana? Savannah, do you need to see anything one more time? You okay?
I'm
So
okay.
do you guys know, Viviana, I know you haven't really been participating that much in the summer school, but do you guys know where the videos are that we're talking about? The videos that are, surrounding the stuff that we're doing?
Not really.
Oh, they just
Okay.
popped on.
Well, I'm gonna show you if you don't mind.
Yeah.
Hold on just a minute and I'll pull it up. So I posted this in our Google Classroom, so you shouldn't have a problem finding it. It's taking a minute. Hold on. Oh, okay. There we go, finally. Okay, so I'm going to share my screen with you guys really quick. So, okay, you guys can see the Bitmoji classroom here? Yes?
Yeah.
Okay, so that's the welcome page. Our Bitmoji classroom is down here at number 5. So if we click on that one, that's ours, okay? And there's a lot of things here. So Viviana, you were looking right here when we were looking at the multiplication quizzes. But over here is all the videos that we've been posting. These are the videos from the first week up here at the top. These are the videos from the second week. So the ones that she was talking about, that Ms. Ramos was talking about, the first one that was talking about that we talked about the water uptake and the root hairs and all that kind of stuff. And then this one right here was the one that was talking about aquifers. And then this one is from the experiment that we did on Wednesday. And this one right here is the one that is talking about organic farming, organic gardening. And then all the videos up here are from all the stuff that we did last week. So it would be a really good idea if you're interested, and I hope you are, to go here and look at all these other different videos, because it kind of, you know, informs you, gives you kind of a greater depth of knowledge of what it is that we're talking about today. Today is kind of the culmination of everything that we've learned this week. So it would be a really good idea to go back and watch those videos just to kind of fill in the gaps of your learning about what it is that we're talking about. Okay? And then while you're at it, maybe click on some other stuff and learn some other stuff. Because up here, all of these letters right here are different science videos that Mrs. Tovar's husband did, because he's a science teacher and he has stuff about paleontology and, you know, all kinds of stuff. So it would be really cool if you look at that. So there you go.
So well, I think that's all for this week for our notebook. If you guys have any questions, you guys know how to contact Ms. Scott.
Well,
and I don't know if my email's on there, but
it is.
Okay.
Yeah, if you click on the Miss Ramos bean in the bean bag, her email is there, and if you click on me on my little flying carpet there, you can come up with my email, and yeah. So there you go. Any questions, ladies?
No.
No.
Thank you guys for being really awesome participants and answering my questions. I know it's kind of hard to be put on the spot, but this is just a fun thing that we're doing. Okay, and I really appreciate that you come and that you listen and you hopefully participate. You guys can still do all the experiments at home on your own and change them up however you want, and then even share with us what you
Absolutely.
do.
Okay. Well, that's all, ladies. Thank you so much for coming. Have a good weekend.
You too. Bye.
Thanks.
Bye.
Bye. Okay.